Unchained Yubel. Ubel is a deck that I personally am interested in because the new cards are all pretty good, and especially the new fusion monster though is what makes me interested in it, right? The new fusion that they're getting is very, very good. However, that card isn't out yet. So I'm actually interested in seeing what they are doing post Legacy of Destruction. It also says in the title that they're pairing it with Unchained cards, which we've seen in the past, but let's just check it out.
Brutal here at the Legacy of Destruction Regional. My goodness, of Fort Worth, Texas. 9 rounds of Swiss, 360 players with Whoa. Please introduce yourself to the world.
My name is Cody Thomaside. I did back-to-back tops in Dallas with 2 different decks, and played a new deck today. I went X1. Think I'm top 4. Not quite sure. Pairing's not posted yet.
Oh, yeah. X1, what deck, man?
Yubel.
Yubel. What made you decide to use this deck post?
So, all the new cards were really crazy, and the guy right next to me convinced me, as well as Denny Vu told me to play it today. So I didn't do any testing with it. I just sleeved it up, wrote it up, and brought it today.
That's what's up. Any shout outs before we begin?
Yes, I've got a few. First of all, shout outs to my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Thank you for dying for my sins and for the sins of mankind to get into heaven. Shout outs to the boys I rode with, my special counsel, the man who really built the whole deck. He just showed me all the texts. Juan, the GOAT. Shout outs to Justin for driving. That's all the boys, all the Oklahoma City boys. Denny Boo, Eric Bowie. If you know, you know. My parents for always being very supportive of me in the game, never telling me to quit, always telling me to keep going. And other than that, Portal for the profile.
There you go, sweet. Without further ado, please show us the top 8 goons.
All right, it is 42 cards, best number. We're gonna start out with the engine. It's 3 Samsara Lotus, 3 Spirit of Yubel, 2 regular Yubel, 1 Terra Incarnate. That's it for like, and then 3 of new Unchained Soul of Sharvara. This card is really the best card in the whole deck. Just a free extender. It's 2 bodies by itself. It can dodge Imperm on Spirit of Yubel. It's not during the main phase, the special, so you can do it in the battle phase to kill people and play around.
Okay, so the other ones they've been out already, right? That's Phantom Nightmare stuff. But this one is new. The only thing that I'm somewhat curious about is I've seen people play 1 Ubel most of the time, but okay.
Nib. Great extender all day. This gets every back row minus the field spell in the deck. This is just Lone Fire for Spirit of Yubel, and then sometimes the monster negate comes up if you whittle them down on resources. And then these are like the soft bricks in the deck. This is the really bad brick. This is like manageable, but it's still not ideal.
You play 2 Yubel, so you can have 1 in the graveyard or field, while the other one is under Varudras. Oh, okay. That could somewhat make sense, because you're talking... Varudras is the new rank 10, right? Which I assume... Like, that's one of the better cards for this deck as well. Like, it's not direct Yubel support, but like... or Yubel support. In Germany, we call it Yubel, so my bad. Or I call it Yubel. I don't know if we do that. I don't want to speak for the entire nation of Germany. Maybe I'm the only one, but I used to always call it Yubel. Anyways, I'm yapping. The rank 10 is pretty good in this deck. It's the only deck I can think of. The only deck I can think of that can really play the rank 10 right now competitively somewhat. I don't know if another rank 10 deck really exists. Some people are going to be mad that I said that, but it's pretty huge for this deck. So if you always want to make it, that's the thing I don't know. If you make that guy and then it really sucks for you that 1 Ubel is under it, if that's a real problem, then I could see playing 2.
And that's it for the...
Double Empen makes it. Ah, I see. Okay.
The Monsters of the Yubel. For the supporting cast, it's 3 Dark Beckoning Beasts and the 1 Sharvara. It's the 4th copy of Gravescrummer. Spoilers, I am playing Yama in the deck. This card is fantastic. Just opening it by itself is Rage, Yama, and Escape back or Chamber set back row off of 1 card. Or a Spice TXT's monster that I put up in the deck to protect combos. I'll show that later. That's it for the engine monsters. For the engine spell cards is 3 Nightmare Throne, one terraforming to go with the Nightmare Throne. This is the real reason I wanted to play the whole deck. It fixes so many core problems with the deck. The fact that it can just destroy from the deck if you need to get a free Yubel body on the board to just start putting the field up, to start extending. And then the fact that this can float into any of the Yubels.
The thing is, the thing that you have to understand about the new set, it's a very weird situation, because you would think, hey, they made all of the good cards low rarity. They put like 4 anime secret rares, like the King, the Sarcophagus archetype and all that, right? The problem with that is usually like the set still for vendors, it still costs the same as it does with other sets, right? For the most part. So something has to make their money back, right? Like if the set is just bad, then less of it is going to be opened, and then the supply is lower, and then the demand for the cards is very, very high. And so like even a card like Nightmare Throne, which if that card was in a complete banger set, like, I don't know, like if that was in Phantom Nightmare, I don't think it would be as expensive as it is. Or like in I don't know, like Power of the Elements or something like that, right? Like it's just because the set is so like mid overall. It's like those cards are gonna go relatively, they have to carry the set basically.
By going a level up, adding it to your hand and summoning it, helps you kind of play into boards. The standard combo uses this effect as to put up 2 bodies to be able to go into Yama early. This field spell is fantastic. People had to read it, and people didn't know that it could summon from banishment, because I had a Melodious player try to banish my terror out of graveyard, so I just added it back, summoned it. But this is the real reason I wanted to play the deck. This field spell is phenomenal, and this was an easy side out all day. For the rest of the engine spells, it's 3 Nightmare Pain. The real best card in the whole deck. Just diagram, pop a dark monster, search for a card that mentions Yubel. While it's on the board and you have a Yubel monster, your opponent is locked into attacking that Yubel monsters, and they take all the damage you take. So this is how you OTK people really, really quick. Because if they put up a 3k body, they're going to lose to 2 Yubel monsters. 2 Spirit Gates. You don't want to open this one. You really want to open Beckoning Beast, because this isn't 2 bodies by itself without playing a bad extra deck monster. 3 effects. Searches the Beckoning Beast. You can discard a card, summon a fiend from the hand or from the graveyard with 0/0, so you can get all the Yubels and literally the everything else. And then the graveyard, the other effect is if you have a level 10 monster, you can add a continuous spell from your graveyard to your hand to just keep hand advantage for discards for Super Poly. Get back Nightmare Pains if they outed it early.
You see, a lot of these decks that I'm seeing in these spreadsheets and in these regionals sound very, very cool. This is specifically why I wish they did a little bit more to Snake Eye, just a little bit, right? Because I didn't want Snake Eye to completely disappear, but just a little bit, you know, just a little bit more, just to give them a little bit more of a chance, right? I mean, they're still performing, so I guess that's still cool to see. But I just wish it was a little bit more.
And I just got ogred like quite a few times today, and I don't know why they didn't save it for Nightmare Pain. Mature Chronicle. This was Juan's main force to make me play the main inclusion for the main deck. This thing has 5 effects. It's very, very good. It's like kind of like Gateway of the 6, to where whenever Yubel or a monster that mentions it is special summoned on either.
Okay, if this card is kind of like Gateway of the 6, which is one of the most broken archetype support cards I've ever seen, why is it a 1-of?
Field, I can put a counter on it. First counter is summon a Yubel from the graveyard. It has to be the regular Yubel. You can't summon like any of the other ones. The second one is remove 2, add a banish card from the banish pile to your hand. The third effect, banish a card from your deck. That never comes up. Removing 4 counters to non-targeting, destroy a card in the field comes up against Melodious, which I played 2 today. And then searching Super Poly at number 5 made people play very strangely because they knew I had it. I loved this card. This card was beautiful. Helps you play through Niv very well. Also helps you put up the full board. And then the one eternal favorite, I sided it out every game. This card didn't really do anything for me. It's kind of just
That's a Super Poly, right?
there as a free search for Spirit during their turn. The one chamber for the Shavara, I misplayed against the Fire King Snake Eye deck. My only loss because I didn't Shavara set this to keep myself alive to make the Super Poly alive. Other than that, this card's fantastic. Just sometimes summoning Yama to get a card back to your hand to be able to keep playing for discards is good enough. the real best card in the whole deck. I was not going to play this today, and then he told me at like 3 in the morning, you're going to lose if you don't play Super Poly. He was right, so I played Super Poly, and this card was disgusting all day. I beat a Voiceless player in time because I Super Poly'd him on his turn to burn him with the Yubel fusion. Beats Voiceless, it beats Melodious really good. It helps you play into Branded really well too. Being able to search it, people are not ready.
The best card in the deck, number 3. I mean, hey, Yu-Gi-Oh players are not very articulate when it comes to deck profile, so it's fine. We'll let it slide. People love the phrases of best card in the deck, broken, and all that. Let him have it. He's still doing a good job at explaining it, so we'll forgive him. He'll get a best card pass
For that, so that's like a very greedy line, but it does do the job. And then for like the non-engine that are actual non-engines, 3 nib, snib's good. Sometimes it's good as a standalone, but oftentimes it's better with another hand trap. But there are a couple games where I nib somebody and they pass like a melody.
See, he starts with the generic phrase, but then he doesn't just go to the next card. He then continues with an actual explanation. What he should probably do is just cut out the first part, because you guys are just making fun of the first part. The explanation afterwards is actually okay, right? Like there's just no reason. He's just saying like nib because it's nib, and then actually explains it, right? Which is fine.
Players, because it's just a good hand trap. This was a gut decision. I played 3 Ogre today in the main. I was respecting Tenpai, the Mirror, more and Voiceless more than the other decks, so this comes up in the Mirror very well. You pop the Nightmare Pain.
This card, honestly, I could see Ghost Ogre making a comeback, like in this format. It seems pretty solid to me as well. The thing is, I think the big downside of this card is that it's pretty bad against Branded. I can't think of many things to Ogre against Branded. I think Cartesia is the only one that you could Ghost Ogre if they really want to go for Grand Guignol. That's like okay. Other than that, it's like, yeah, Quem maybe, right? You can never hit Branded Lost, unfortunately, because it's always going to be unable to be responded to. Whoever said Branded Lost, I knew you guys were going to say it. I said I tried to prevent you guys from saying it, but you guys said it anyways. You guys said it anyways. My god. Anyways, card is pretty bad against Branded, and it's pretty, like, it's mediocre against Snake Eyes. You can hit IP Masquerena with it. You can hit SP with it. You can hit Appaloosa with it, only if they don't make it with Masquerena. And it is pretty good if you have it together with Nibiru. That's the thing that people don't realize. If you have Ogre and Nibiru, you can just Nibiru them at some point and then just Ogre the field spell, and that's pretty good as well, right? So I think Ghost Ogre has its merits for this format. I think it's all right. You can hit Omega. You can hit Omega, yeah. If they don't have this pattern yet, then hitting Omega is also solid.
I Ogred plenty of Skull Guardians to force the ritual spell in the graveyard. Ogering Nightmare Pain helps you win that mirror match. Good hand trap. Not good against Brandon, but oh well. 3 Imperm, solid. And then my last 2 cards are just 2 talents in the main. Comes up, they're easy sides. I'm really happy with the main deck. 42 cards in the main. For the extra, the 1 Rage, standard. The SP Little Knight, standard.
Is Yubel the type of deck that is bricky and therefore wants to play 40, or is it the type of deck that plays some engine requirements and therefore wants to go over 40? What is it? Because I could definitely see like, hey, I don't want to draw Yubel, I don't want to draw Yubel 2, I don't want to draw whatever, you know, and that therefore I want to go over 40, but at the same, both. See, that's the problem. That's the problem, because that is exactly what you don't want to be, right? You don't want to be a deck that is inconsistent, so it wants to play 40, but it also needs to play engine requirements, so it kind of wants to play more, because then you can't really do it right. That's literally the only thing about some of these decks that I see that I don't enjoy, right? Because I'm looking at this deck and it looks very cool, but I definitely know I wouldn't enjoy drawing some of those cards. And I hate when decks like that are, when decks have that. That's just something I don't like, but it's fine in this deck. It's not like crazy with the bricks, but yeah. That was like the one thing that I didn't like about Unchained, for example, is the amount of cards you didn't want to see in your hand.
Where did it go? Muckraker, I used this card a lot today, just because, like my last round, I made Muckraker after I made a Yama, because I had the Nightmare Paint up, put up 2 Yubel names, crashed the Muckraker into his Dragos Tapalia, used Yama to summon a 3rd Yubel name and killed him. Good recursion. I made Dark like once today, does come up. Made this a lot today. It gets voiceless because if you get the ritual spell out of the graveyard and you use this to make access code, they can't use the ritual spell to float into another one. Game card. There's only like one attribute that you can really use with this, so it's mainly just a Hail Mary. Apo, very good on the end board. I got even lead for 7 by Brandon, and I kept this, and he passed. The 2 Yamas. The fact that you can put this back in the extra deck with Mature Chronicle comes up a lot in the grind game. You never need the 3rd one. I didn't miss any other links today. These were all fantastic. And then for the Exceeds, the new Baron. This thing is Baron plus Unchained Abomination on a stick. It's 3 effects. It needs 2 level 10s. Omni Negate by detaching material. Then at the resolution of the chain, you can detach a material. Sorry, resolution of the effect, you can detach another material and non-target pop. At the start of the damage step, if this attacks a monster while it has materials, if it attacks while it has material, you non-target pop a card on the field. And if this sees summon card is destroyed, you can non-target pop. This is how you play through Melodious. This is targeting protection. This thing is a house. This is the only reason I would play this deck, because this Omni Negate is...
This card is crazy. The only thing that makes me not like mad that they printed this card is that I think 2 level 10s is much more reasonable than a level 10 synchro. Like the cost or the work you have to put into this card is, I think, what makes it okay. Like, I'm not a fan of Omni Negates in general, but if you're gonna make Omni Negates, I would much rather have them on cards like this one, or like maybe cards that are only to one specific archetype or whatever, than super generic stuff that is relatively easy to make, right? Like this card, if this was a level 10 synchro, I would hate it. I would hate it to death, because it would basically just replace Baron. But because it's a rank 10 Xyz, which literally, like, if you even want to call Yubel a meta deck, then that's the only meta deck that can summon it. And like some other, maybe it helps some rogue decks, but I think that's fine. I think the card is not too crazy. Until maybe at some point maybe there is going to be a deck that's going to abuse it. Maybe Yubel, with the new support that it still gets, is going to be like annoying and always making that and all that. Maybe I'll change my mind in a couple months when this card is always going to see play. I don't know what's going to happen, but for now, I think it's okay. It's definitely better than Baron in terms of its design, because I think it has a more steep cost attached to its effect. Like, I would say this card's effect is basically almost the same power level as Baron, because you get an Omni Negate with some bonuses. But this one is just harder to make, which makes it more reasonable in my opinion. It's also much harder to make this before you get hand trapped, right? Like the Baron, some decks would just make Baron before it was even correct to hand trap them. And this one is much more, like, much later down the line for most decks, right? Because you just don't put 2 level 10s up like instantly most of the time.
It's a clean board. I don't need to go anything else. This card's really good. But this is my tech, Gym Buster. So if you have like Nightmare Throne or Nightmare Pain that you want to resolve, and you have the Beckoning Beast engine, a lot of times I'll go Beckoning, search Continuous, search another Beckoning, and then I'll extra normal. Make this so that way the Nightmare Pain resolves, or the Nightmare Throne. And it's a fiend, so if you need to, you can like Rage put it back, or it's a fiend, so you can special Squirmer with it while it's on the board. What did not regret this card today? I won a game in time because I burned him for 5 with it. Did not regret it today. For the fusions, it's literally 3 super targets. This is a good card. I love this card. I beat 2 players in time with this card today. You burn for 2k, which is a lot. Can't be shown by card effects, so that matters too. So I did it today where I Nightmare Pain popped it, and because it would mark it for destruction, I still got to search with it. Great. You can also summon it back once you properly fusion summon it. More burn damage, and then last two targets. This is how I've won against Fire King Snake Eye round 2 because I super polyed in both games, made this so his princess wasn't alive. So I just called Dark, he couldn't do anything. And the side, I'm bad at side decks, so there's like there's 3 cards in here that never mattered.
I didn't know you still search if you pop it. Well, apparently chat is saying that's not legal. Hold up, what did they say? I didn't catch that.
I still got to search with it, where I Nightmare Pain popped it, and because it would mark it for destruction, I still got to search with it.
Okay, hold up. Let's investigate that thingy. That's Yubel, the Loving Defender. Yubel, the Loving Defender. Cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects. Okay, and then Nightmare... What was it? Nightmare Pain? During your main phase, you can destroy a dark monster in your hand or face-up field, and if you do... no, you can't. No, you cannot. If you try to pop... if you attempt to pop Yubel, the Loving Defender, you can attempt it. You can... If your opponent goes... Summon Yubel, the Loving Defender, and activate Nightmare Pain. Activate Nightmare Pain effect. Try to pop the Yubel, the Loving Defender. They can do that, but then they can't search. You can attempt to destroy a monster with this that can't be destroyed, but because it says if you do, then you can't add. So yeah, that's a mistake. I don't think that comes up very often because most of the time you use this early on in the combo, right? And you pop something from your hand or field, like whatever. But yeah. Okay.
So there's like there's 3 cards in here that never mattered. Ash for Branded Hates and weirdly good against Melodious because they have their own Branded Fusion. The Bestials, they're okay. They don't really do a lot against Melodious, but against Branded or the Mirror, they do kind of do the job if you know how to Bestial.
Why are we so focused on Melodious? Do we just hate Melodious? Or what?
Sorry about that. But brought him in just against those matchups. They're not really good to bring into fire anymore because the deck's changed those pivot lines. 3 Droplet. This card was insane. I beat a Tempai player under skill drain because he went to attack my Yama with a level 7 and I droplet it in damage step and he was out.
Because the deck is real, I guess. I mean, like, I'm not saying it isn't. I'll be honest with you. I don't know much about the Melodious cards yet. I've kind of been like, I've kind of not been looking at that. Because I just, I know we read the cards. I kind of remember what the new cards do. And I know that they have like their own branded fusion and all that. I was just kind of like, I'm in the position right now where I'm like, my nationals is still 1.5 months away. So I'm just kind of like gonna wait and see what people are gonna cook, right? Because I only plan to attend like some locals, maybe some regionals in the next couple weeks. So it's nothing too crazy. I'm not in a hurry to learn about everything. So I'm just like kind of see how it unfolds. And Melodious is one of the things that I haven't looked at in detail yet. But we'll see. What nationals? I'll be playing German nationals in June.
He was out of life at that point. Just played 3 back row hate cards. I never brought him in once today. They were there. Like, gotta respect Rogue.
Not good against Melodious though.
It's 3 skill drain. Tempai can't play under it. A lot of decks can't play through it. You can keep floating with your guys. If you have Nightmare Pain, you can kill them through it. Sided in every game I went first. This is like the most sided card all day.
Okay, I mean, I think it's cool to see that Ubel apparently already has the means to perform at regionals before it gets the new fusion monster. Really makes you think that that deck might be a real threat when it gets the fusion support monster. Yeah. About skill drain, I from everything I've seen so far, guys, from everything I've seen after the new Forbidden Unlimited list, skill drain has literally 1-to-1 replaced summon limit, which on the one hand is giga cringe. On the other hand, that makes me hopeful, because if they thought last ban list that summon limit was bannable, I would be very, very surprised if they don't follow up with skill drain, right? And honestly, I've said this before, it's a process, right? Getting floodgates out of this game is a process. There's gonna be replacements for certain cards, and I think they're gonna keep working on it. We've only just started, right? Like they started 2 ban lists ago to remove floodgates from the game. They removed some of them, they put some of them to 1. People found some replacements in summon limit and a lot of anti-spell. They put those on the list now. Now they're gonna see more replacements. It's gonna take a while for the most cringe floodgates to leave the game or get limited, but I do believe it's gonna happen. I do believe it's gonna happen, and I think that's cool. But it's also cool to see Yubel perform.